All right, you guys, welcome back to Chill with Bill. I'm going to be reacting to a fresh and put clip from a year ago. And the reason why I like these clips is because, a year or more ago, Myron had more patience. Nowadays, he ain't got no patience. He's like tired of explaining the same thing over and over and over again. And you can tell because his verbiage, the words that he uses, they get more short, more direct, more slangish, and in these older clips, his descriptions are a little bit more drawn out, and they have a little more context, right? And I think the girls, when they hear this stuff, when he says it, they get a little more information as to what he means. Nowadays, he'll say it, and it's so short and so sweet and to the point that they're just triggered automatically. They're just triggered by what he says, and they don't, they're not willing to take it in. But here, let's jump right into this one. Most unattractive traits women can have. Fresh and fit clips.
I mean, we don't have to like the reality, but your career as a woman doesn't hold the same potency for mating purposes that it does as being a man and having that financial security. So, and I get what you're saying. There's guys out there that care about the bag for a woman. Cool, but it's almost statistically insignificant. So I would not gamble on that, especially when such a large predicator of female happiness is based on relationships and marriage and children. That's a risky way to go. Let me just make more money, become successful, and hopefully that's going to make me more sexually attractive to men. If you want to get your career, do it for you, but it's not going to make you sexier to the opposite gender. It's just not, especially for the demographic of man that most women are chasing.
I think most women aren't even explained this. They're just, they're told to get the bag. They're told to get their money, get their bread up, right? Become successful, which is all fine and well. But the conversation about what will make you happy in life isn't really a conversation that is had on a regular basis. The reason why, they're told to get their money and be super successful is to be independent, to not rely on somebody. That's the main reason. I mean, obviously it's to be, achieve goals and be successful and all that stuff too. But I mean, the main reason to do all this is so that you don't have to rely on somebody. That's what is said, throughout the, I don't know, 60, 70 years or whatever it's been. And that's why most women end up doing that.
100K a year plus, attractive, tall, options, whatever. He's going to go with the baddie on Instagram over you and your career.
I do agree what you're saying because men are often intimidated by women who are successful than them.
No, that's cap. They're not intimidated. Okay. Men don't really care about how successful you are. The issue is the traits that you develop that you need to be successful tend to be masculine, and most men don't want masculine traits around them.
I feel like they have to really progress to be on her level. That's why they try to be more attentive to women that are not as successful.
I respectfully disagree.
No, I agree.
It's emasculating.
And I'll tell you why I respectfully disagree.
Emasculating. Men can't be emasculated by situations. Only a person that they've invested to can do something or say something or be some way to emasculate them. Most men tend, we're very well aware where we're at in the pecking order. If I make less money than the dude next to me, I don't feel emasculated. That's not how that works. And if it's a woman, I don't care how much money she makes. The thing is that she does. When she makes X amount, then she cares about how much money she makes. A man doesn't care about it until she cares, and it becomes a problem in their relationship. And then it's like, okay.
Disagree. It's not that men are intimidated. It's that women that are successful tend to have undesirable habits to men.
So undesirable requests that men cannot obtain, or
no. So if you take people that are successful, self-made millionaires, whatever, they all exhibit certain traits. Okay, you line up 100 millionaires, they're all going to be confident, ambitious, non-agreeable, competitive, work really hard, A-type personality, right?
Okay.
These traits are extremely sexy in a man. However, they're not extremely sexy in a woman, despite what society wants to tell you as far as like, oh, be dominant, be assertive, be a leader, blah, 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 like be like a man. It actually makes you less attractive as a woman.
See, that entire explanation that Myron just gave right there was, while it was short, it was condensed and concise, and none of it was triggering. You know what I mean? Like most of these women, they're still like, oh, you could see their faces and whatnot. You know, they're taking in the information. None of it was triggering because he used words that were um, easier to them to receive. That didn't sound like he was mansplaining or whatever, right? The specifically the words and his tone as well. And nowadays, so that, again, this is a year ago or however longer. Nowadays, Myron will tell them, F your feelings, right? He doesn't care about that, and he doesn't care about using. He'll specifically say, what's this thing? 1+1 is 2, or 1+1 is fucking 2. You know what I mean? He'll use that as an example. It doesn't matter how I say it. The context is still the same. And the thing is you're right. It doesn't matter how you say it, and you don't care. I mean, because the audience is completely male. But what you can see here versus what you see nowadays is the difference in his explanation tends to be, here it's like soft, it's a softer version, and they're all like totally receptive, even if they don't agree. Like nobody's triggered as far as I can tell just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you start to exhibit the same very traits that you're looking for in the opposite gender. And unfortunately, I'll tell you guys the truth, men don't want masculine women. These traits are masculine traits, whether society wants to accept it or not. Men want feminine, submissive women that are going to follow their lead. They don't want to deal with a woman who's going to try to compete with them, and you can't have two leaders.
Yeah, and so, nowadays he would say, instead of men don't want to deal with women that are going to try to compete with them, what he would say is men don't want women who are bitchy, crass, rude, obnoxious. Like that's how he says it nowadays, right? Which is, these are both the same thing, right? What he's saying in both scenarios is the same thing. The difference is that a year ago he's saying this stuff and it's more easily receptive. All these women are agreeing with them. They're like, their heads down, they're kind of nodding like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Nowadays, as soon as he got done with this sentence, it would be like blah, 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 because the verbiage triggers, right? And maybe that's with abuse, I don't know, or maybe he's just over it because he's been doing this for so long, so many days a week or whatever.
There's got to be one president. There's got to be one CEO. And women aren't built to lead. So if a man meets a woman and she's successful and ambitious or whatever, that's fantastic for her. But it doesn't make her more attractive. I would argue the more ambitious and the more assertive a woman is, the more she decreases her ability to get that type of guy that she's trying to get.
And
I'll give you an example. All right, let's say I'm your type, right? Oh, probably not at this point. I probably triggered all of you.
But really, I mean, you haven't. See, they're still smiling. They're still laughing for the most part. They're quiet. None of them, their posture hasn't changed. Their attitudes haven't changed. Like, that's the difference. Nowadays, you would have triggered a few of them, and you would have definitely gotten a response. There wouldn't have been that pause, really,
But, misogyny. You know what I'm saying? I let's say I'm your type. But then I tell you, oh, by the way, I like to wear a dress on Saturdays and heels. What would you say?
You funny.
Let's go shopping together.
Yeah, exactly. But you would be unattracted because I'm displaying feminine traits, correct?
Okay.
So why should a man accept you for having masculine traits?
Can I just ask?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
It's just crazy because it's like we tell men you should accept masculine and successful women, but if I say I want to wear a dress on Saturdays, y'all look at me like, what the fuck? No.
I would support you.
And that's
If that's
Exactly.
your prerogative.
Yeah, they want to be politically correct. Like, oh yeah, I would support you. The thing is that, and they have a difficult time taking this. It's like we're not talking about what's politically correct to say, and you don't want to trigger anybody. He's talking about sexual marketplace value. What makes you attracted to a man? What makes you unattracted to a man?
Our dresses together.
You would support me, but
What
you
shoe
wouldn't
size
take
you
me
wear?
seriously as a potential candidate for a relationship.
So making money is a trait?
What was that?
So making money is a trait?
No,
No,
but the
there's
characteristics.
certain things that lead up to being successful and having money. Like, for example, one of the things that pisses me off when people say that girls are gold diggers, when you have a history of like successful ex relationships,
It's not my fault that I like people who are ambitious. It's not my fault that I like people who are financially literate. It's not my fault that I like people who know how to invest their money wisely.
That doesn't make you a gold digger. Just because you like those people. I mean, they say, you know, that you are the net worth of the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, or what do they say? Maybe you're the best person. I don't know. Doesn't the equivalent of the best person you surround yourself with, something like that. That's not the point. There's a difference between surrounding yourself with people who are doing good in life, so that you can also, you know, absorb that energy and participate and do your own thing. And there's a difference between that and specifically going after men who have money, using them for their money, not valuing anything else about them, and then once that is dried up, going to the next man for his money, and so on and so forth. That is being a gold digger. You're not surrounding yourself with people to be beneficial to everybody and for you to grow as well. You're a leech at that point, right? So I'm not saying this girl is. I don't know anything about her, but I'm saying that's what they mean by gold digger, right? Like, all women are hypergamous, and they should go for men who can provide, right? Like, you shouldn't stay with a brokey who has no ambition, right? Like, that's not going to be beneficial to you. It's not going to be beneficial to him either, because now he's benefiting and he's not doing anything. So he's like, oh, why do I have to progress? Why do I have to better myself, right? But you shouldn't just be looking for the next best thing over and over and over again, because that ain't going to work for you either.
Those are just traits that lead to success. It takes an average 3 to 7 years of consistency to reach success. So if
you don't know what you're talking about, 3 to 7 years, that's a pretty long term. And it just depends on what field you're in. Men can be successful in a much quicker time than that. Or you can work your ass off your entire life and never be successful.
if you have certain traits, it's inevitable for you to reach a certain level in your life.
That's also not true. There's a lot of things that hold people down. I'm not trying to make up excuses for people, but you don't really know. I know a lot of successful people who have the traits to be really successful, who are locked up in jail for things that, you know, could or couldn't be avoided.
Yeah, it's not the money that makes the woman unattractive. It's what it takes to make that kind of money that makes her attractive.
Okay.
You can't. Self-made millionaires, they're all the same. If you ask them.
And don't forget, her money is her money. My money is our money, right? That's the main reason why it really doesn't matter, because it doesn't benefit the man in any way, right? It doesn't matter how much she has. The only thing it can do is it can be the opposite. It can be a non-benefit, because the more money she has, the more money you're going to have. Otherwise, there's going to be a serious imbalance in that relationship that will probably lead to its ultimate demise, or there might be a power imbalance that I don't know if you want to be involved in that. Maybe not. You know, to each their own, right? Like, if your woman makes more money than you, she's a breadwinner, you stay-at-home dad, and she comes home and you don't feel like you're submitting to her. If that situation exists and you're good with that, then you're good with that. I just can't see it.
When it comes to certain habits and stuff like that. And these habits tend to make you less attractive as a woman, make you extremely attractive as a man, but don't make you attractive as a woman.
Because men are supposed to be providers and women are not.
We bring girls on the podcast. We've interviewed hundreds of girls at this point.
Again, I love the way he talks now, or talks then versus how he talks now, because now he's just over it. He's jaded. He's like had to deal with all the ratchetness, and again, he's had to explain this over and over and over and over and over again. It'd be different if somehow every podcast the topics were different, but they don't. You know, within a 2-hour period or 2.5 hour period, 3 hours, whatever the length of the podcast is, it's not like you're coming up with new topics every time they do this. You know, even when you try, you're still going to mold into the same old over and over topics. And so how many different ways you're going to be able to explain it?
One of the biggest things women look for, I don't really care about money. I just want to be ambitious. Well, ambition is literally the fuel for financial competency in the future. Mm-hmm. So, but if you ask a guy, guys don't really give a fuck about a woman being ambitious. And I'll argue, we brought many successful guys on here, celebrities, athletes, rappers, whatever it may be. They care less about a woman's ambition level the more money they make.
Okay.
They usually say they want peace.
But this is like,
Well, that's what most men want all the time is peace, right? It's because when you're out in the world, you're slaying dragons or whatever. You're on your purpose. It doesn't matter if you're a 9 to 5 or blue collar or multimillionaire or whatever. Like you're dealing with energy all day long, right? Other people's energy and the world's energy and all that stuff. And so when you get home and your connection, like you don't want that. You need to be able to decompress, right? You need to be able to, it's like when you run a track meet, right? Once you cross that finish line, usually you need to walk kind of slow row and then walk your way around 1 or 2 more times just to, kind of get the energy back down to that normal operating level, right? So you don't.
you're talking about the majority though, right? Like
I'm
you
talking
talk about.
I'm talking about the men that women are chasing after. That top tier, that top 20% of guys typically.
Okay.
So,
Not to
you had
go off
something.
on
Sorry, go ahead.
tangent, yeah, like I agree with both spectrums. Like, I took a psychology class in college, and
I took a psychology class in college. Here we go.
And when I went through all the stages of life being adulthood, they did say that when it came to dating and stuff like that, that the males found it intimidating and both masculine that when a woman is highly successful and
It's not intimidating, and this is why college is failing all of you, right? So, and I feel like it wasn't a psychology, maybe it was a women's study class you took, right? Because it's not intimidating. Intimidating means, oh my goodness, I am lacking in some kind of way. I can't. I can't take this, like this is going to be an issue, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not performing up to my level. Like that's what intimidation means, that you're somehow doing better than he is or whatever, and that it puts you down here. No, it's not intimidating. It's that when you come home, you're masculine. It's that when you come home, you're aggressive, you're not peace, you're not submissive, you're not attentive to his needs. That's not intimidating. That's just a relationship with another dude, and most dudes don't want to be in a relationship with dudes.
has a bigger bag.
Again, that's you interpreting that, because if you were talking about 2 women and one's getting the bigger, yeah, you say she's intimidated. Like men don't care about your bag because we don't benefit, like in any way. If you have a small bag, big bag, like we don't benefit.
And then that women reach a time clock to where they feel prone to settling for men who may have less because they feel the urgent need to not be alone when the time comes. So another thing with women making...
I mean, she's right about the time clock and the settling for men with less, but it's not settling for men like that are lesser necessarily. It's settling. It's not settling. It's who's on her level at that time, right? Like if she's 40 years old and she's got a ton of dough or whatever, and this is who she can get. There's a reason why that's who she can get, because a higher tier man doesn't want nothing to do with that, right? Like so it's not lesser. It's just who's on her level, who she can afford. And we're not talking about who she can afford money wise. We're talking about from the sexual market value state, right? Like her age, her attributes, and who she can afford as a partner, right?
money, it's okay, something men may not care about. And I still feel it's important because men see certain women as disposable. And some men don't like to own up to responsibility.
Yeah, and you should have put the some men in front of that first statement too, because that's not true for most men.
So I need to be able to prepare myself because there are a lot of girls who didn't have a father figure. So they saw their mom do it. So they're going to do it themselves.
Yes, that's true. I mean, it starts with how you were raised in the household, but don't forget, like a lot of, single kids or single parent households, that's not because the father was like a dirt bag, and so now you should think that all men are dirt bags. Like you got to put some accountability in this, right? Terrible choices.
And as although it's intimidating and probably not as attractive,
it's not intimidating. Like it's it's ugly. It's not attractive. Like, we don't want that. It's not for us. It's masculine. You keep wanting to use the word intimidating because that's how you would feel, right? That's how a man does not feel that. At least most men don't.
It's a survival instinct that modern day women have adjusted to. You know, I know it's probably not the hottest thing, but you also have modern day men who don't mind being taken care of.
That's because they're being raised by the same women that you're talking about who are raising the women, right? Like, most men don't want to be taken care of. It feels weird. Like, it's not in us to be like that. It has to be a very certain kind of specific kind of dude who's willing to be taken care of. Like, a lot of guys will say, oh, I don't care if my woman gets the bag or brings it home, this and that. Like, yes, most men don't care, but that doesn't mean that they're willing to not be the providers, that they're willing to take a back seat, because most men feel weird about that. And that's an issue.
Okay, so a lot of women like to throw this term out, intimidating. So if
Threatening, you're fulfilling my role. That's intimidating.
No, it's not you're fulfilling my role. It's intimidating. It's that you act like a man and it's unattractive. Like, these are two different things.
It's not attractive to me at all. Like, just with the scenario of my man throwing on, and no offense to the people if you like to cross-dress or anything like that, but for my significant other, I would feel like you're competing with me, and that's ultimately not sexually inducing or even appealing.
I would argue, because here's the thing, by that logic, that would be like me wearing high heels and a dress and saying, oh, you don't want to date me because you're intimidated by me because I rock these Jimmy Choos better than you.
You might.
And that's not, I mean, like, you're replying right now because you didn't listen. You're answering right now to the reply, not to his rebuttal, because you would feel intimidated if somehow your man looked better than you in women's clothes. I mean, that would be a weird thing. You wouldn't want to be, but you wouldn't want to be with him because it's more feminine. Like, that's weird.
You might set your foundation better than me, fam. You absolutely right, and I might book you.
Yeah. No, it's not that. It's not that you're intimidated by me rocking the Jimmy Choos better than you. It's that you're just not attracted to it because it's repulsive. Because it goes against, like, women are designed to look for masculine, strong men.
Yeah, you don't want a dude with no calves who's fitting into some pumps. That doesn't make any sense.
Men are designed to look for feminine and submissive women. So
repulsive is strong.
Yeah,
I just want to clarify that. I don't.
Stop being politically correct right now. And this is what happens, right? This is how Myron gets to the point where he's tired of doing this.
I want to say repulsive, but it's just to my standard, not as something I'm willing to accept in my partner. But to others, maybe it is, but I don't find that.
Okay, we got to get over the politically correctness. It is repulsive because the thing is that if a guy comes up to you and he's acting like a woman, dressed like a woman, you're going to be like,
yeah, as a matter of fact, you're going to be like, hey, girl, how's it going? Da-da-da-da-da. Maybe you go shopping or something like that. You're not giving them box, yo. Like, you don't, that's not what you're looking for.
yeah, this guy is not a good potential candidate for me from a romantic standpoint. You'll be his friend. You'll accept him. Go shopping with me. Cool. But from a sexual standpoint, arousal standpoint, he is repulsive.
Unattractive.
Unattractive.
Stop being politically correct here.
I'm not going to change my verbiage. It's repulsive.
That's fine.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about, right? So there's a way, for whatever reason, when he says the word repulsive, they're like, oh no, you can't say that. It's in their mind, they don't want to say that, right? Because they just don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Like, how are you hurting somebody's feelings by speaking the truth? You will be repulsed by this. Repulsed means away from, right? Like that's it. You would not, you're close and now you're backing away from because of this. You don't want that, right? So it is the correct verbiage. Quit being politically correct because you're not using the correct verbiage there.
And the reason why
the
reason why I'm going to say it's repulsive is because you're not designed to look for a man that is feminine. Just like we aren't designed to look for a woman that's masculine.
Correct. No.
So, but I'm not
To
going to
me,
run around and tell y'all, you guys are intimidated because I rock these Jimmy Choos better than you, or I look better in a dress than you do. No, that would be ridiculous for me to say that.
But you see how you find the dress repulsive, and maybe another man might see the girl as intimidative, regardless of it being unappealing or attractive.
Jesus.
It's like a
What?
what's that
That
thing?
didn't make
A
sense to me.
Not a syllable. It's
Stop using big words that you don't know how to say and probably don't know the actual meaning to, sweetie.
the same mean in a similar sense. It has a yeah, there you go. I can't say that freaking word.
We realize that.
No, I'm just simply
Synonym.
I'm just simply using your logic to show how crazy it sounds, because women like to use this term intimidated by my success. No, he's not intimidated.
That's because that's what they've been told this entire time, right? Which is, the whole thing is dumb. It's like, okay, go out, get the bag, get this. You can have it all, queen. You can, not settle down until you're 35, have sex with a million dudes or whatever, and you can get all this. But when you're there, they're going to be intimidated by you. Like, come on, man. What is going on here?
Intimidated by your success. He doesn't like your characteristics that led to your success. That's the difference.
And
And it's not, he's repulsed. That's what Myron is trying to explain to you, that it's like you have a force field around you that makes dudes bounce off of you because they don't like what you are putting out there for them to see.
to be honest, most guys with that trait who's masculine, successful, if they meet a woman who's very masculine and she comes off as that, I ain't gonna lie, most guys won't even talk to her. Like,
Not only will they not talk to her, if you get in a room, it's going to be like the situation on Just Pearly Things with King Rich and the girl with that's what happens right there, because there's too much masculine energy, and most of them, that need to be right. It gets strong. It's strong with the
like they'll see her, she's barking, and all right, they'll let you talk, and you think he's scared of you or intimidated, but he's really not.
Yeah, he's really just going, man, how the hell do I get the fuck out of here? Like, I got somewhere else to be.
He just doesn't want a headache. He knows a woman like that is not what he wants, so he knows to move on and to deal with a girl who's very feminine and submissive.
Yeah, but what happens to a lot of guys is that these women are chameleons. When they first get with you, they'll turn on all the femininity and they'll try everything they can, because that's a trick, right? Like, I mean, we're talking about who's tricking who here. You know what I mean? Like, they'll turn all that stuff on, and then when you get in the relationship, especially once you get the ring or whatever, but once you get in a relationship, somewhere down the line, man, that they'll turn that turns right on you, right? And so it's like, why would I deal with this when I know what would be coming my way? What's the point? It's unattractive. That's not what I want.
Because he has those traits for the girl to follow. So he's not intimidated by anybody. He just doesn't want to deal with the headache. So he moves on.
Just like you don't want to deal with a feminine man, right? Because there's a bunch of things that happen if you see me come up to you in a dress and heels.
Can I say something though? Because
You're
I know
gonna-
some women
Can I
that
finish
like
what-
feminine
yeah.
men.
You like women? You know women that
No,
like feminine men?
I mean, yes.
Yes.
Guys that cross dress that act like
Yes.
girls?
No,
Not like
I
clothes,
know.
but
I know.
You mean feminine
females.
qualities, like
Yeah.
maybe compassion and understand, like
No,
a little
but
bit of
even that,
those,
like,
nurturing
Yeah.
qualities.
Yeah, you like women that say that they like these things. And there are some that are in relationships like that, but are these beta males? Are these boss bees? You know what I mean? Like that whole situation. And what's up with that dude?
I know
friends
a
that
girl.
like that.
Look, Myron's laughing his ass off right now.
I know a girl in New York that I've danced with, and
That is so funny. And Fresh is just sitting in the corner. I don't think he said anything. I think he got cut off once and then he hasn't said anything.
her boyfriend is like very feminine. They both wear skirts and stuff like that. They get their nails
Is he Scottish? That's really the only
done together. At first, I didn't think that they were dating. I thought that was like her gay best friend, but they're dating.
Yo, I know a whale in the ocean.
Everyone has their own preference.
Doesn't
Everyone
mean.
has their
Thank you, Fresh.
own preference. I understand that you're speaking to the general audience about like norms.
He's talking about most people. Most people don't have relationships like that. Most women are not in relationships with men that wear skirts and get their nails done with them at the salon. I'm just saying.
But there's people who, like, a norm is subjective. What's normal in my life is not going to be normal in your life.
Unless you like dudes in skirts. Like, most people, they follow a certain trait. And all Myron has been trying to say this entire time is that most men who are heterosexual are not looking to date and settle down with women who have these masculine, manly traits, okay, who have masculine energy, who bring masculinity to the table. The man's already bringing enough of that to the table. If I'm bringing that and you're bringing that, who's bringing femininity? Nobody. Not good.
You
You
do know that
understand
we're
what I
talking to the
mean?
masses, though, right?
Yeah.
That's what
The
I'm
masses
saying.
is not the exception that you bring up all the time, or you bring up. That may be who you know, but the masses, it's very general.
I'm just
So-
being aware of it because you don't want to offend certain people.
No, you don't want to offend something. You guys have these conversations based on not wanting to offend people. This is a generic conversation. Your answers are generic then. They're not, you're not thinking logically, and you're not really trying to break this down if you're too worried about hurting somebody's feelings in a room where you have all agreed to come together and talk about these topics in an open forum. That's dumb. I don't understand why this happens all the time.
People, even though this is a massive.
Nigga, we offend people every day.
Yo, we don't should fucking fit, man. We're out here like,
What you're saying.
yo, you guys are on
Fuck your
fucking
feelings.
Yeah, fuck your feelings. We're on.
Here we go. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's getting tired of being cool, right? And so now he's just like, man, fuck your feelings all day. He's not worried about what he says. He'll just say it fast and to the
Fresh
point.
and fucking
Say
fit.
what you
We're
gotta
not
say.
politically correct here. We're not here to say nothing like this or appeal to people's feelings or any of that
No, you're here to have an open discussion about a topic, an honest opinion about it, not this watered down bullshit that you keep having.
stuff. We just tell the raw truth. Is it possible that there's women out there that will accept a man that cross-dresses and is feminine? Sure. But it's statistically insignificant for this conversation. If I lined up 100 women, again, you know what? Let's go. Would you date a guy that wears a dress?
No.
You? Sure. Cap.
Cap. She's just, again, right back to the political correctness. We know this, right? Otherwise, she'd have one.
Nah.
Cap again.
Look, she's, because I want to prove my point about the 0.0001% I
It's
know.
not cap.
No? No? Brianna, would you date a guy?
Hell no.
Okay. So,
Two women over here said yes. One of them was the one who was specifically fighting for this, and the other one, I mean, maybe she's not capping, but I'm just saying, like, where's that dude at? Are you dating that guy right now?
and I mean, I'm sure if we weren't having the discussion, you would change your opinion. But the point is that most women want a masculine man to some degree, and most men want a feminine woman to some degree.
Yep, no man wants to come home after slaying dragons to slay trolls.
I'm saying is this. We have all these conventions to make women feel better about their deficiencies. Okay? I don't run around with a skirt saying, girls don't accept me because they're intimidated because I rock a Jimmy Choo better than them. They're intimidated. That would be clown logic for me to say that. But we allow women to run around here and say, he's intimidated by my success. No, ladies, you got to peel the layer back a bit. He's not intimidated by your success. He dislikes your characteristics and habits that led to you being successful. That's the key difference. It's not your money and your success.
He doesn't like her personality.
People that are successful tend to have certain unalienable traits it's required to be successful.
Okay.
And also, think about this, right? Most guys in that scenario or that situation with you as their breadwinner, they're gonna pretty much like look at you as, okay, you know what? That's your money. How do I come up off of you to get my money?
Exactly, because your money is your money. My money is our money. As a guy, as a provider, that's just kind of how it goes, right?
They're gonna use you, honestly.
Yeah.
So in that,
Yeah, and that part, I mean, some guys will. Like, I'm not, you can't say that all guys will. There are some scumbags out there that are going to be like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to take advantage of her. Just like women do men. I mean, that role is mainly women taking money from men, taking, advantage of men, right? But it does go both ways. The problem is we don't hear about it very often. It's definitely not glorified, right? What was that Tinder swindler on Netflix? Like, he did that, and then he was like jail time. like you can go outside right now and toss a rock and hit a girl that's swindling some dude out of some cash, right? Like, that's dumb.
in that case, either way, like you having those traits makes it even worse because now he's gonna say, you know what? All right, bet I'm gonna be here for like what 6 months or a year, get what on, then I'm out. So
And here's the thing: we're not going to make you guys say anything offensive. It's fine. I get it. You know, hey man, that's not fair. This is not polite to say this type of thing, but it's the truth, man. Like
Is that reality?
it's the reality.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
And nobody on the Fresh Fit chat cares. Nobody watching this cares aside the people that are clipping it, right? The audience who's actually paying attention to this, they want it raw. They'd rather have the raw, unfeathered truth, not just like watered down nonsense. Oh, let's change the words to this. No, they want to know. We want to know how people feel. We want women to know how men feel. We want to know how women feel. So that way we can just weed through the BS.
you know, we're not. Reality doesn't care about feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like it.
All right. So, yeah, that's the Fresh and Fit clips, man. Like I said, this was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. And, you know, it's Myron. Oh, my goodness. You know, he's a character. I think he's great, but you can definitely tell that his fuse is about this long now, right? Because he just he don't want nothing to do with taking the time to explain using polite verbiage that is non-triggering. Matter of fact, I think he triggers on purpose now. Got to get those views up. All right, y'all. Chill with Bill. I'm out. Peace.